One of these cars had a flaw that engineers knew about before it ever left the factory, and they chose to do nothing. 9 Cadillac HT4100. You know that feeling when you buy something expensive and it falls apart in your hands? That's exactly what happened to thousands of Cadillac owners in the early 80s. GM decided to shrink the engine to save on fuel and created one of the worst V8s in American history. The HT4100 overheated constantly, blew head gaskets like it was a hobby, and coolant mixing with oil was basically a Tuesday. Dealerships saw these cars so often they could fix them in their sleep. A full engine rebuild would run you $3,000 to $5,000, and that's in 1980s dollars. Today, double that. Cadillac was supposed to be the pinnacle of American luxury. Instead, this engine turned it into the pinnacle of American disappointment. 8. Oldsmobile Diesel. Here's a car that proves one thing: never let a gasoline engineer build a diesel engine. Oldsmobile took their regular 350 gas engine, made a few changes, called it a diesel, and shipped it to customers. It was like putting a bicycle wheel on a truck. The injectors failed, the head bolts stretched, the engine drank coolant like it was thirsty. Owners were furious, and rightfully so. Many drove to the dealership, handed over the keys, and never looked back. GM eventually settled thousands of lawsuits over this engine. The damage to Oldsmobile's reputation was so bad that American buyers avoided diesel cars for the next 20 years. One bad engine, 20 years of consequences. 7. Pontiac Fiero. It looked like a Ferrari. It drove like a dream for about 6 months. Then the dream became a nightmare, sometimes literally involving fire. The early Fiero had an engine that would overheat and ignite oil, leaking onto hot components. NHTSA investigated. GM issued recalls, but not before hundreds of Fieros caught fire on American roads and highways. The 1984 and 1985 models were the worst offenders. Parts were expensive, the mid-engine layout made everything harder to reach, and labor costs were brutal. The sad part? By 1988, GM actually fixed most of the problems, but it was too late. The reputation was ash, just like some of those engines. 6. Chrysler. K-Car. Chrysler said the K-Car saved the company. Maybe. But it didn't save the owners much money. The rust came fast, sometimes within 2 years of purchase. The automatic transmission had a habit of slipping and failing before 80,000 miles. And the 2.2-liter engine, while simple, needed constant attention to stay alive. Repair shops in the Rust Belt saw these cars constantly. The irony is that Chrysler marketed the K car as dependable and affordable. Affordable to buy, yes. Affordable to own, that was a different story. Ask anyone who drove one through a Michigan winter. They'll tell you the repair bills came faster than the snowstorms. Number 5, Lincoln Continental. Mark 7. Lincoln promised luxury. What they delivered was a repair bill that could make a grown man cry. The air suspension system, which was supposed to give you that smooth, cloud-like ride, failed constantly. When it failed, the car would sag overnight and sit lopsided in your driveway like it gave up on life. Replacing the air suspension with a proper coil conversion cost anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000. The electronic components throughout the car were equally unreliable. Diagnosis alone could cost hundreds at the dealer. It was a beautiful car, no question, but beauty is expensive to maintain, and this one was high maintenance in the worst possible way. Number 4, Buick Riviera. The 1986 Riviera was ahead of its time. It had a touch screen before touchscreens were cool. Sounds great, right? Wrong. That touchscreen replaced almost every physical button in the car, including the radio and climate control, and it failed constantly, in the cold, in the heat, after a few years of normal use. Replacing it meant a dealer visit and a bill that started at $1,000 and climbed fast. The front-wheel drive system also had issues, and the overall reliability ranked near the bottom for that era. Buick customers were loyal, older buyers who expected dependability. The Riviera, rewarded that loyalty with expensive surprises, not exactly the retirement gift anyone had in mind. Number three, Dodge Aries. The Dodge Aries was transportation. Basic, simple, no frills transportation. But even basic cars need to work. The Aries had a reputation for rust that arrived early and spread fast. The carburetor needed constant adjustment. The interior fell apart. Literally, pieces of trim would detach and rattle around the cabin like loose change. By 75,000 miles, many owners were facing repair costs that exceeded the car's actual value. The math stopped making sense real fast. And for working class families who bought the Aries because it was affordable, discovering that it cost nearly as much to maintain as a luxury car, that wasn't just frustrating. That felt like a broken promise from an American brand that should have known better. Number two, Chevrolet Cavalier. 18 years. GM sold the Cavalier for 18 years. And for most of those years, it had the same problems: rust, electrical gremlins, head gasket failures, and a transmission that would start slipping right around the time you finished paying off the loan. The 2.0-liter engine burned oil, and owners learned to check the dipstick every fill up just to stay safe. Consumer Reports ranked it poorly year after year. And yet GM kept selling it, kept cutting costs, kept collecting paychecks. The Cavalier wasn't a bad idea. Affordable American compact cars should have been great. But this one was a lesson in what happens when a company stops caring about the person behind the wheel. Number one, Ford Pinto. Yes, the Pinto. And before anyone says that's a 70s car, Ford sold the Pinto all the way through 1980, and the damage from this car lasted the entire decade. The fuel tank design was a known problem before the car ever hit the streets. Internal Ford documents, and which later became public in lawsuits, showed that engineers calculated it was cheaper to pay settlements than to fix the $11 design flaw. Real people, real fires, real funerals. The repair costs were the least of anyone's worries. This car represents something darker than a bad transmission or a failing gasket. It represents a moment when an American automaker decided that profit mattered more than the people driving their cars, and that is something no amount of money can ever really fix.